Hi, this is Julie with Beadaholique, and in this video I want to show you how to make this crystal charm bracelet with tassel, and it's an exclusive kit from Beadaholique.com. You can see it has a really pretty pave set crystal charm, a nice tassel, and some fun alternating colored seed beads with noodle beads, so it's a really nice bracelet. And it comes in a variety of colorways. We've got a pink and purple with gold, a gold and black, a silver and black, and then we have this turquoise, orange, and silver, and a pink, purple, and silver as well. You'll notice that some of them have a Hamza hand charm and some have a crescent charm, and then different color tassels as well. I really quickly want to show you what this looks like on the hand. So you see here we've got a nice magnetic clasp, which makes it really easy to put on, and then the noodle beads. Now this is a 7-inch bracelet, and that's what I'm going to show you how to make in the video. But it's very easy to make it larger, and all you have to do is add extra seed beads, which are included with the kit, just to either side of the noodle bead. So I'm going to put this down, and then I'm going to show you what you're going to receive when you purchase this exclusive kit. So these ingredients here are for this bracelet. You're going to get the seed beads, so you're going to get the turquoise, the orange, and the gold. You're going to get 2 different jump rings, different sizes. You're going to get actually 2 pre-made tassels. We're throwing in a second one just for fun. Put it on this bracelet, or you can put on another piece of jewelry. 4 crimp tubes, the magnetic clasp, 4 crimp bead covers, the charm, and the 2 noodle beads, as well as the beading wire. So everything you need to make this bracelet. Now the tools do not come with the kit, but they're really basic jewelry tools that most people have. And they are going to be a crimping plier, a flush cutter, and just 2 pairs of chain nose pliers, and that's all you're going to need. So now I want to show you how to make this bracelet from start to finish. So I'm going to set this guy aside, and we're going to begin by unwinding our beading wire. So you're going to receive 1 length of beading wire, but it's going to be enough to make the 2 different strands of beads in this bracelet. So let me show you how this is actually constructed before we begin. So you've got the 2 strands, but they're both anchored to the same loop on either side of your magnetic clasp, and then the charm and the tassel are just added after with jump rings. So go ahead and separate out your clasp, and we're going to take the beading wire and we're going to thread it through the loop. So you might have a situation where your tools stick to your clasp. Don't worry about that. I'm going to show you how to get around it. Okay, so we're going to take a crimp tube and feed it down our beading wire. Now we're going to thread that tail that went through the loop on the magnetic clasp through the crimp tube as well. So we've made a nice little loop, and we're going to pull it down towards the base. And at this point, go ahead and crimp this crimp tube. Now to do that, you're going to take your crimping pliers, and you'll notice 2 notches on the pliers. One is crescent shaped and one is more oval shaped. You're going to start with the crescent shaped one to go ahead and squish your crimp tube so it'll end up as a bean shape or a crescent shape. And then the other notch is going to go ahead and flatten your crimp tube out further. So here, let's do this, and you'll see that that magnetic clasp is sticking to the pliers. What I find is best is to just go from the outside in and just hold the clasp to the side. So it's sticking to the side, but that's okay. We have our crimp tube firmly in that notch, and we're just going to squeeze, and you'll see that it just turned that into a crescent shape. So this is what we have. And now we're going to set that crescent on its side and put it into that notch towards the nose of your pliers. And we're going to squeeze as well. And that folded over the 2 halves of the crescent, and it secured your crimp tube. So this is what you now have. Now we're going to string on some beads. We want 31 beads on either side of the noodle bead. So we're just starting with one here, and we're going to start with the gold and the turquoise. So we're going to start with a turquoise and then string on a gold and another turquoise and another gold. And we're going to do this until we have 31 beads. I find it easiest to just string on a bunch of these and then go and count. Let's see how many we have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. So I had 2 extras. Slide those guys off. Now what I want you to do is also take your tail that we have not trimmed yet and feed it through a few of the beads. We're going to trim the tail at the end, but it's nice to get it fed through a couple extra beads just for an added measure of security. There we go. Now we're going to string on one of our noodle beads. And now we're going to go ahead and string another 31 beads on the other side. Okay, I'm going to count how many I have now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So 28, 29, 30, and 31. And now we're going to need another crimp tube. So we're going to go ahead and put it on at this time. And we're also going to string on our other side of the clasp through that little loop. And we're going to pull that down. And you'll see the magnetic clasp was even sticking to the noodle bead, which is fine. So now we're going to go ahead and take our beading wire and loop it back through the crimp tube and several adjacent beads. So now, important thing to keep in mind right now is you don't want to pull this beading wire too tight. If I was to really pull it, it would be too rigid. So I want to make sure that this curves nicely and it has some flexibility to it. I'm just going to do that on my table, and it's fine if the clasps come together at this point. We've crimped that crimp tube, but we haven't cut our tail yet. You can just pull the beading wire so that it makes a nice loop. And I like that. I like it to have a lot of flexibility. So now I'm going to crimp this crimp tube in the same way I did the other one. And this is actually a little bit easier because I have something to hold on to on both sides. So I'm just going to crimp this the same way. And now I'm ready to trim my tails. So I'm just going to take the cutters and trim the tail where it exits the bead. And then I've got my beading wire from my next strand ready to go. Trim that beading wire. And now I also want to just take a look. Everything looks good and secure. All right, so this is what we've got so far. Now we do need to add our crimp bead covers. You can either add them all at the end or you can add them as you go. I'm going to put these two on right now. So I've got my chain nose plier, and the way you're going to put a crimp bead cover on is you grab it with the opening facing out, and then you just go ahead and slip it over your crimp tube and squeeze. And there we go. Now we have a nice gold bead. I'm going to do that with the other side as well. I don't have a good grip on that. Sometimes you just have to fiddle with it a little bit. Now we're ready to do our next strand. That one strand is complete. So we've got the first strand complete, and now we're just going to repeat that process to make the second strand. So we're going to feed our beading wire through the loop on the magnetic clasp, and we're also going to feed on a crimp tube. Pull it down towards the base. Take the tail of your beading wire and feed it through the crimp tube. Okay. Pull it down towards the base, and we're just going to crimp it. And rotate. Okay. Now we're ready to string our beads. And you'll notice on this strand, it's a little bit of a different pattern. And we're going to be doing turquoise, gold, orange, gold, turquoise, gold, orange, gold, and so forth until we have 31 beads again. And again, we want to start with the turquoise and end with the turquoise. And of course, you're going to get these beads in your kit. You can definitely deviate from this pattern if you have another pattern you want to do. If you want to block out the colors, that would look really great too. A lot of different things you can do with that. This is just one suggestion on how you might string these beads if you want to make your project look like our examples. So turquoise, gold, orange, gold, then turquoise, gold, orange, gold, and I'm just going to again string these on for a while and then go back and count. So I'm just going to count to see where I'm at. I think I need a few more, but we'll see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So 29, 30, 31. All right, so now we're going to add our noodle bead. And we're going to add our additional beads. Now I'm going to go backwards with the orange one starting just so that each end matches. So we'll go orange, gold, turquoise, gold, orange, gold, and so forth until again we end up with 31. 29, 30, 31, and then our crimp tube. Slide that down, and before I go any further, I want to feed this tail through a few of these adjacent beads on this side. I'm about to pull my strand tight where I won't have the opportunity to do this. There we go. Pull all your beads down, and then go ahead and lay out your bracelet, because you want to try to make sure that you're looping this new strand on the same side of the original strand as you did on this end, so you can see where this is coming out. So I'm going to want to put my beading wire through this side of the loop versus on this side. So I'm just going to do that. Okay, feed it through. And then go ahead, loop back around and up through that crimp tube and several adjacent beads. and pull it. Make sure it's not too stiff. Make sure it's got some nice flexibility to it. And now we're going to crimp this crimp tube. We can trim off our tails. Same way as before, just wherever the tail is sticking out, go ahead and trim it with your cutters. So now what we need to do is we need to add our crimp covers. So go ahead and pick them up again. Same way as before with that opening facing out. Isolate the crimp that you want to go ahead and put the cover over. Slide it over and squeeze. Okay, now we're going to do the next one. Same way. Slide it over the crimp tube. And squeeze it shut. There we go. So we are almost done. So we've got our basic bracelet actually finished, which is really nice. All we have to do is add the tassel and the charm. So I'm going to add this charm first, and then I'm going to show you how to add a jump ring to these pre-made tassels and attach it to your bracelet. To open a jump ring, grab it on either side with your chain nose pliers, with your 2 pairs. So there's a slit in it, and you want that facing up. That's its opening. And then you twist. Link on your charm via the loop. And then just put your jump ring through the loop on one side of your clasp. And twist that jump ring closed again. So now we have the tassel to do. So the trick to the tassels, I'm going to scoot some of these beads out of the way so you have a little bit more working space here. It's a little bit less distracting. As you can see, you have quite a few leftover beads, so you can use these for another project, or if you wanted to make that bracelet longer, you could do that as well. So the trick is you're going to keep the tassel on the strand and pull this center wrapping down a little bit. So you see how it's up high, and here I just pulled it down. It was very easy. I just slid it down. And at that point, once that is slid down, you're going to cut the wire. Set that down for a minute. We're going to open up our jump ring. And you can go ahead and open your jump ring ahead of time. It might be a little bit easier. You don't have to set the tassel down. We're going to open the jump ring. And now we're going to thread the jump ring through the little hole in the tassel that was left from where the wire was. Just like so. And before we close the jump ring, we're going to attach it to our bracelet, again via the little loop on the side of the magnetic clasp. And you're going to close that jump ring. And your bracelet is now finished. This is a really fun, quick kit to put together. It is nice because you do have the stringing and you'll learn how to crimp a bead. Here are the other colorways that is available in. And you can find this kit as well as other exclusive jewelry kits at Beadaholique.com.